But
All right,
anyways,
here we
here we are
are, round
for
two.
round two. Yep.
We are player name. We would
Give me
like
a
to
second
play.
to load.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Interesting if we want to start with culling drone. I think we want to start with culling drone, right?
My inkling is to say culling drone. But
Yeah, we'll see what. I mean,
I
it
don't know if
depends.
there's I don't know if there's anything that would change my mind. So I think we try to start the culling drone because if we can get just one ingest off of it, it
Mhm.
sets up at least one or two of our other cards.
Does your brain confuse ingest with infect all the time? And like
Um,
I keep evaluating that card as if it has an infect.
it does not, but I was thinking about it a little this weekend, and I thought what would be interesting is if like it ingest was also like had wither attached to it, so like it not only ingested but it dealt -1/-1 counters to creatures. So that's probably too powerful. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but to sort of differentiate them from player, but it also makes sense. Like when they damage creatures, they fight off creatures, but then when they hit planeswalkers, they sap their mind or whatever you
Yeah.
want to do.
I mean I know they don't like to do 0/1 counters or one or
Yeah.
like that'd be cool, but I know why they don't do that.
Yep.
Hutch Climacus is our opponent. That's pretty awesome.
It's to follow up on the Grand Prix while we're waiting for our opponent here. I'm sure as soon as I start talking, he'll come back. But
Well, that's
very
good.
cool, very cool to see people coming from like all around the Midwest to come play to talk to people from Chicago, Northern Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa. Just happy to come play
Yeah.
Magic.
I think North Dakota was my furthest away person.
I had Northwest Iowa as I think as far as I got Detroit. I guess Detroit's probably further.
It's weird. I swear I saw movement over here, but nothing changed.
The clock's still ticking, so I guess.
Yeah.
While we're looking at our hand here, so nice. We got a couple twos and a three, which is great. I do like the Blighted Gorge I mentioned is kind of like a spell. I do really like the cards that they put in that are like the spell lands, Blighted Gorge. I think they're all started with Blighted. I specifically like the Gorge because it just kills a lot of stuff. I had an opponent not play around.
Yeah.
When you get to the 0-2 bracket, like you start to see bad players, and you could argue I'm a bad player too. That's fine, but like he had an Oran Reef Invoker and 8 mana up, and I had Blighted Gorge up with the mana to activate it, and he attacked, and I blocked with my 5/5, and he's like, tap 8 to pump it, and I'm like, Blighted Gorge? Like I don't know what else you could have here, but
Time walk you and shock you.
Yeah, he's like looks at his guy, and he's like, good play. He just hadn't paid attention to the card that was on the board, which, like I said, it's really interesting to see them. Like, I think that's one of the great things about the Grand Prix, right? Like, everybody from bad player to good player opens their pool. They're in the same tournament. If you open an amazing pool, that guy could have been 6-0 and said he was 0-2 because he didn't have as good of a pool. But it's very similar to playing poker against a professional, right? Like, you still have a chance,
Yep.
He could have the better hand when you get your money all in and you outdraw him,
Yeah, I honestly think my worst opponent was when I was 3-1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens, right? Like, I didn't start seeing my bad opponents. Well, I would argue my second, third, and fourth were not very good. But I lost to one of them.
Yeah. Well, and I think that one of my guys kind of went on tilt and definitely played worse because of it, which is, there but for the grace of, salt go I. But, but yeah, there was definitely a moment where because he looked at my hand, saw I had a turn against, and should have known what was happening. But I did something with a removal spell that made him unhappy, and so he just, rage swung into me, and
Sure.
it's bad news bears.
Yeah, but I think that was the worst play of an opponent made against me. I missed a couple triggers on like Metal Drone and stuff, but nothing that would have added up to a game loss in the Grand Prix trial last. What are they called? Grinders.
Grinders, yeah.
On Friday, I did make a mistake that did cost me the game. We had done a bunch of sealed pools, and we had never come across a sealed pool that had a good density of black-white allies. And so I had never played with cards like the Bloodbond Vampire, even drawn as Emissary or Colostria Healer. Like we just have never. It was just really hard to get a synergy that dense and sealed. Well, of course I opened it, and I missed. So in the first game, my opponent ended at 8 life, and I had a Colostria Healer and Silent Skimmer in play. Yeah, you can check to see if the graphs are moving worried. People. And, finish my story.
They're rocking and rolling.
The players are joining and leaving. Yep. Yeah, so we're still talking. So he was at 8 life. I had Colostria Healer and Silent Skimmer in play, and I top decked Inspired Charge, which was 7 damage, and I had missed earlier in the game Adrana's Emissary trigger, so he would have been at 7. So it would have forced the game 3. Now this person is apparently a former Pro Tour player who's from Madison, who's grinding back to play more Magic again, and he had double Sheer Drop, Stasis Snare, double Gideon's Reproach, double Clutch of Currents. And so I based on that alone, I don't think I could have beaten him, but I should have forced the game 3, and I have no excuse for doing it. It was simply a mistrigger. I drew my card, and then I looked at Drawn as Emissary, and I was like, that's on me. And that, of course, afterwards, people are like, yeah, just put something on top of your library so you don't forget to do that. And I'm like, yep, that's a good lesson learned.
Yep, and I had a similar issue. Well, I actually in that grinder, I also made 2 pretty huge mistakes, one of which was missing triggers off of From Beyond, which if I had the extra chump, I would have survived an extra turn. And in that same game, I just had a miscommunication type thing, which is totally, I did where I attacked and then my opponent blocked and I said, okay, meaning... Yep. I understand your block, but what that means is, okay, I'm not doing anything.
Yep.
Which is really bad when you're attacking into, when what you were attacking with was your Invoker that you intended to pump and, kill off his creatures. So, yeah, I honestly, I'm kind of glad I lost the grinder that way because, I would have preferred to win the grinder, but it made me super careful during the actual event. And Ryan was actually the one who talked me down off of being really ticked off and said, just don't do it during the real one. And Ryan, you kind of became my spirit guide for the real event, where I was just like, well, just don't do it for the real one.
For as salty as I can get sometimes, I'm much better at giving advice to other people than I am sometimes in myself. Although I feel like I've gotten better at it. I think one of the things that I'm going to work on, and like when we do casual cube drafts, I think we should just play by more strict rules, just so that we can. Because a lot of times when we're doing cube and it's like, oh, I tapped my mana wrong, or I played the long ran, like we just, oh yeah, take it back, and it's like, I think if we're gonna plan on doing GP a year, then every time we play, we should play serious.
Yeah.
And
or
be like, you made a mistake. This is what you did, but you can't take it back.
I think we should give people the option, like, to opt into serious.
Oh, sure.
Like, because when I'm playing against you, I want to be serious, but when it's a newer player, I don't want them to, feel bad.
When I was playing Phil in the drafts at the GP, Phil is one of our friends who was there, and is a really good-natured person. And I missed. I did a gruesome slaughter. I did something that was, and I had something that was had summoning sickness, so I couldn't do the last damage. I think it was gruesome slaughter. And he's like, "Oh, do you want to take it back?" I'm like, "No." Like, I don't want to take it back, and you don't offer it to me either, because like we're friends. It's cool. Like, but that's A, I'm going to get better this way, and B, like, this is like the reason we're here is to play serious, and if I can't remember something as summoning sickness, then that's not me,
Yeah.
So I entered 2 drafts with Phil, and I ended up getting paired against him in both drafts, and I beat him both times, so I felt pretty bad. But in the second draft, yes,
got there.
The finals.
Woo.
The finals. Oh yeah. Oh, this feels good, Brad.
Yeah. We happy birthday, I guess.
Yeah, and we got the odd mix list. Now we get our packs back from this one. Odd mix list from the first. We're in great shape. Birthday concession. Happy birthday to me. But with Phil.